Welcome everyone to After Church Tea Time, and we are here to discuss today's sermon.
Today's Sunday service about being loyal to God and how that looks like. I really enjoy this sermon a lot. So yeah, let us discuss about it, talk about it.
And we have today with us Debo and Kanisha.
Good. So who would like to share first, like their thoughts and feelings about today's service?
I can go first. Hi guys. Hi everyone watching. And like I love this sermon and of course touched upon everything that I've been working for the last week or so in regards to like surrendering. There was a time when I was listening to the sermon and the words being loyal to love or to God is basically humbling yourself to the journey and allowing yourself to move through whatever God is asking you to move through. And of course, I was going through a block of going where it doesn't really feel very nice or very comfortable. But it's keeping in mind what the goal is, and something that was also spoken in the same class that Adam and Brian were sharing, which is that Ascension is the main goal. And so it was like meaningful and important to me to remind myself, okay, what's the goal in all this? Like, what am I doing this for? What was my intention when I began this journey or when I became a unionist? And it was, because I want to be closer to God. And so everything that is out of like alignment or whatever is in front of that becoming must be removed. So I don't know, it felt very like nice and peaceful sermon to me. So like deepening that surrender.
Yeah, I agree, and I really love to what you shared about, and what of course Adam and Brian shared about, going back to the core and the fact that this is all about ascension, which is all about coming closer to God, coming back to God. So I really love this because it's very synchronistic. I love how these services just are very synchronized with everything. This is also what we're moving through, like in our journey right now, to just go deeper into like, what's the purpose here? What's the main goal? And the main goal is always, it's love, coming closer to God. And this is something that we actually discussed as well, like Jeff shared in our group coaching yesterday about, if you focus, for example, on your twin flame journey, if you focus on, getting the person that looks in a certain way or acts in a certain way or behaves in a certain way, or you look at your twin flame and you're not seeing these things, they're not happening, he's not acting in this way, or he's not doing, well, it's not about, all of these external things. It's about, the love and the inner journey that you take within. And while of course there is some truth to that, desire that you have in your heart, it's important to honor, and as you said, about just like humble yourself and move through like whatever step is being presented in front of you. And I kind of remember something that also Brian shared was that, you might think like this next step is not the perfect step, like it looks like you misstepped, and this is not a pleasant place to be, as you shared, but it's actually in perfect order for you to move through whatever you have to move, so you can like ascend, so you can come closer to God. And I think if we just all, and for me, like I'm just deepening in this choice right now to, see what God is teaching me right now through this experience, or through this lesson, or through this thing that comes in our reality right now, we're gonna be able to move through everything with love. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I was also like feeling one of the cards that Ashen pulled, which was the bat, the fact that the bat can see in the dark. And it's us coming to that point, or like mastering that faith that the journey requires, which is, okay, as Brian was saying, like this step might look a little bit sketchy or doesn't make much sense, but that's only because we are seeing through our own standpoint. And I tend to do this a lot still. It's like, oh, I will see the grand scale, but with my limited sight. And it was like, again, as I was listening to the sermon, that the word kept coming, surrendering, surrendering, surrendering to God's vision, not our vision, because our vision is limited. We don't see everything. It's like that Jeff quote that Brian shared. We are not the source of the universe, God is. And so it's like really getting into that space. And like I was watching the class as well, like preparing for this after tea, and it was really, really helpful in like, okay, chilling, everything is happening perfectly. I don't have to have all the answers, which is something that was shown through the class. Like Jeff kind of like got up and see if I had to like get that buzzer on the door, and Shaleia was like, nah, you can like remain here and we can proceed with the class. And it will seem like something was deviating from the path, but it's always taking you somewhere. And it's like that somewhere will be revealed to you in divine order.
Yeah, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Good. So, Kanisha's going for it.
Yeah, I really loved how they really just kind of like nailed home how safe it really is to follow love. Because Brienne was asked to kind of do some things that are really out of her comfort zone. But the thing that she was asked to do was followed by like lots and lots of love. And so you're always going to be rewarded and a deep level of love just by following it. And so understanding that it's completely safe to just jump all in. God has you. And one of the things that I have personally been working through with my union is like being scared of love. And as soon as you release that fear, really it's just recognizing like, oh, like I was afraid that all of my needs weren't going to be met, or all this love that I thought was possible wasn't going to be here. But as soon as you release that resistance, you actually get to just experience it and be present with it. And so I love that they shared like her fear traveling over the ocean. She was like, dang it, like my true twin flame is across the world. And if I want him, then I have to get on a plane. And God was like, I'm going to get you there safely, and I'm going to get you to your man and get you to everything that you desire. So I absolutely love her story there. And I also really love the story of Daniel that Adam had shared, and keeping his faith in God. And even though he was put in the lion's den, he came out safely because he continued to keep his faith in God. And so really showing that love that God has is unbreakable. Like nothing can harm you when you choose God.
True.
Amen. Like your faith is your fortune, right? And this is exactly like what's being spoken here of. And I think it's all, just coming back to the fact as well of, we are divine beings, we are God's children, and we do have the power to come back to God, in places where we, might feel like, things are messy, things are sticky, things are like, you are faced with like your deepest, darkest fear, because, it's the ascension journey. You will have to go into that space. It's safe to see that you have the power here, the power of choice, and to really choose to transmute that, choice of fear that you made, so you can like go deeper in your relationship with God and transmute it into a choice of love, and that's how you go through everything. And it just kind of like remembers me about like something that Jason and Christy shared in the introduction of the sermon was how you can make a choice to either nourish your home or expand your home, or you can like make a choice to burn your home down. It's all happening because of your choice. So it's safe to like see that we're always presented with a choice in our relationship with God to go deeper or not. And yeah, we're always invited to go deeper. And I think in being loyal to God, I have noticed how God is always loyal to me. Like God will never abandon me or let go of me. Like God is always there. And it's just something that brings me back from, I know Jeff and Shaleia shared that, you know, God has infinite patience. So therefore God will like extend that hand over and over again until you grab it and you're ready to, you know, move forward from that piece. And I feel like that's just beautiful. And I feel like, you know, I want to have the same attitude towards God, you know, where I want to be there for God, whatever God calls me to be. So
Yeah, and just in a way, really surrendering to that, surrendering how God wants us to be.
Yeah.
I hear you, Alex, and I'm like about to tear up. Like it was beautiful listening to you, going deeper into that. And something that, as you were speaking, you reminded me that something that was also mentioned in this class that was like inspired the sermon for today is when Jeff says that choice comes first, even before love. And that's something that I was like, oh, he's like absolutely right, because you can have all the love there, but if you don't make the choice to engage with it, then nothing can really come through. And this also like brings me back to this beautiful share that Jeff made a couple of months ago or last year. I lost track of time, with this Michelangelo's painting, like the touch of God, where God has his like pointing finger extended, and it was like waiting for Adam, the like common man, human, to extend it. And it's, unless we extend that last teeny bitty of ourselves to God, then that union, that connection cannot really be there or happen. So I was like, yeah, choice is your most powerful weapon under your toolkit. Like, you have your bad belt, and it's like choice. I'm gonna use this one.
Yeah, the choices are really powerful, and it's really like important here how you use them and really get clear on making the choices that you really desire there. And I feel like here it comes to something that this we're moving through. It's like really choosing something, really like trusting that, and just having
Extending behind your choice 100%. I feel like this is something that, you know, Jeff and Shaleia like model really well, and I really love that in your choice to be with God or go deeper in a certain area of your life, you have to stand behind it 100%. You cannot be just, oh, I choose this, but then I'm not gonna do anything about it, or, you know, I'm just gonna wait for it to happen. No, you really have to put yourself like down the line, and, you know, yeah, just allow yourself to be all in that space.
Yeah, and be committed to that.
Yeah, and it's all about, you know, like coming back to God ultimately. So
yeah, it was bringing me back to, again, it's like every time I hear something, an idea pops, or like a memory of something that was said and shared. In one of Jeff's first Sunday classes or Saturday classes, I think this was back when I was in Saturday class, and he was kind of like prepping us for that space. One of the things that he said was like, are you gonna go all in with God, or like what are you gonna do when it gets challenging? Where is the breaking point in which you say, okay, this is a deal breaker, I'm out? Which speaks to this that you were bringing up about standing 100% behind your choice, and still like allowing yourself to be compassionate as you do it. No, so it's something that I've been working through the whole week, was feeling like a lot of resistance come up. This is kind of like my dance with God in my journey. God will point me to it in a certain direction, and I will like be all against it until I am so worn out that there's no other choice but to get behind that and just go where God is guiding me. But still, like, honor your journey and knowing that, okay, you're working your way there. There's people who had this muscle of faith and devotion more trained, and people like perhaps me who requires a little bit more patience. And like, that's okay, as long as you stick to it and take like put one foot in front of another. Right? Again, infinite patience, as you were saying. God is gonna be there all the time for when you're ready to make a different choice and like grab onto Him from a peaceful place.
Yeah, one of the things that Brianne also said that really stuck with me was just saying being loyal to love, not loyal to yourself. And that was really kind of like a profound thing for me to hear, because I was finding that at times it was hard for me to be loyal to myself. It's because I was trying to do it like by myself instead of being loyal to love and loyal to God in that way. And it actually makes it much easier to know that it's me being loyal to love, and then God like wanting to be in that space there with me, and just surrendering to that and knowing how safe that is, because a lot of people have a deep upset around loyalty, have a lot of betrayal in that area. And so to know that love can't hurt you, that love can't betray you, and to be loyal to it in that space is really a deep freedom for me personally.
Yeah, I was feeling to this yesterday when I was listening to the sermon. I went to have some tea with my son outside and like, get some fresh air. And there was a moment where two girls sitting in front of me were like lighting a cigarette, which you're not kind of supposed to be doing in an open space with a lot of people in the middle of a pandemic. And especially here in Argentina, we are kind of like going through the second wave. So, and there was a moment where it's like, should I get up and just ask them to put the cigarette out? Or should I remain here and pretend that nothing is happening? And I said, no, like, this is not cool. And it was clear that she was trying to hide the cigarette even so that nobody will tell her. But God through me saw her. I was like, no, I gotta get up. So I got up and I asked her. And of course, like, sometimes I can speak for myself. Sometimes I am afraid of being loyal to like love or God, because I am afraid of triggering someone. But you're actually inviting them to that same space of love, because she wasn't doing any favors, like not even to herself. And to my surprise, her response was like really cool. It's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, don't worry about it. She put it away instantly. And it was a nice opportunity to work through those upsets, as you were sharing, and align yourself with that. It's the same example, like, should I tell on the uncle when he's like drunk driving or not, just because he's my uncle? And ultimately what matters is what does align to love, what is in alignment with God, because anything else doesn't even matter. So like, yeah, and we can all like strengthen that muscle and little by little like rip the layers off and stop being so afraid. Like,
yeah, you're just building the trust with God.
Yeah, exactly. I know in my case, this is a space that I continue to like go back to over and over again. God will tell me again, okay, do this, do that, say this, erase that, or whatever, like discipline here, or blah, blah, blah. And I just gotta trust that like God's intentions and purpose is completely behind me when I do that, because it's not even me doing it, as Jeff was saying. I don't even honor myself. I honor the love in me. And to me was like very strong statement to be making. And like, I respect that. It's like,
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really important here because I think and I'm realizing this within myself, as I go deeper in this subject with this sermon and this service is that, as you said, like you can be loyal to your uncle in this situation, or you can be loyal to love. And it's always safe to see, like in every situation, what are you loyal to here? Are you really loyal to love, or are you loyal to something else? And usually I found, like, when I am not loyal to God, I'm usually feeling really, really bad, even if I'm comfortable in that bad feeling. And yeah, maybe in switching from being loyal to, like a fear, and in being loyal to God, it will be kind of like uncomfortable to make that switch. But, as soon as the switch is made, like you're just there and it's done.
And it feels good.
And it feels really, really, really good for you to be in that space. And I'm kind of thinking about, how it is like with harmonious union. And the moment that you have it, it's there, and you can feel like the difference, in your vibration. As you ground it, it becomes more and more even stable in that way. So it's just in the same way, like I feel like it's the same thing actually. You go deeper with God and you're going to feel better and better, but you have to like be willing to release that maybe unloyalty, because maybe it will feel, as you said, Debo, you might have like a lot of fears coming up. Something will happen if I stand up to love here, I will trigger people, I will upset people. But what really matters here is to educate, and I feel like just like discipline ourselves and others in, not being okay with feeling bad in certain situations.
In any situation.
In any situation, right? Because I feel like, we are used to, we are so trained to like kind of feel bad in certain situations that we don't realize that it's okay for us to feel good. It's okay for us to cross that threshold and, be loyal to love, be loyal to God, be loyal to what feels good in each and every moment of our life, not in maybe just this little circumstance. And I think this is just beautiful that when, we live as unionists, right, and we embody the principles of unionism, and we take all of these lessons and, distill them and apply them in our lives, like we can really, change and ourselves, and not just only ourselves, but also like the world around us. And I think like this impact, it's really, really great, and it's safe to just see that, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, to make to have our needs met, like, which is something that creates in our reality. So whatever you are loyal to, it's gonna manifest. We've known this, and we see also our PFAS and NPC and like everything that as a unionism, like the teaching will itself will share. And so what kind of reality do you want to be living in? Do you want to live in one that you have to like settle for poor behavior, or you want to like step it up, and even perhaps that helps you vibrate into the environment that you want? And as you were saying, like, I think it's us really like moving away from that, oh, I have to settle with this, or because I've lived this way for so long. This is something that I also was coming up in group coaching with Jeff a week ago. Just because you're living in a certain way doesn't mean that you have to live the rest of your life in that way. And it's the same that was spoken in class as well. It's a constant choice that each and every one of us is making. And God is going to be sitting there waiting for us to make a different choice if we choose to. And if not, like, the same circumstance will keep coming up over and over again to be like purified or clear out. And again, it's going back to what's the main goal. And perhaps you can share more about this, since you are living together in harmonious union. How is to be loyal to love even when you are with your twin flame, like right next to you, because we know that we are not responsible for anyone but us and our relationship to God. So why are you laughing, Lo?
It's funny. I guess we just didn't expect the question, but yeah, we will answer like, yeah, it's following the same thing in being loyal to, love, being loyal to God, and being loyal to, Brian said also to use logic, right, in this process. If you feel bad in both circumstances, use logic, like God is logic. God is not just this magical unicorn running around. It's logic, right? So I feel like it's really safe to look. We use this a lot, like in our harmonious union, like we love ourselves, right? And when we really don't know what to do, we just apply logic and see like, okay, but how we actually want to live here, like I know we feel maybe, moving to this feels in a certain way, but as we go deeper with ourselves and we just do the mirror exercise and heal, it's always gonna be revealed. I feel.
Yeah, it's about like coming together to love rather to who's right or who's wrong. It's really being loyal to God here rather than, let's say, like when Alexandra has an upset on me, or I have an upset, not being loyal to each other, being loyal to God, and seeing past that upset, seeing past that, okay, she's just having an upset, or like I'm just having an upset. Okay, let's just support here to move through that and just have compassion for each other, and that's kind of something that we're moving through. And as well, like being loyal to God in our union, it's kind of like allowing ourselves to express ourselves as well, because that's an important part of healing.
Yeah, and it's about, really honoring what your twin flame is to you, which is an ascension tool. So Brianne spoke about like how this is all about like the ascension, and this is like the purpose, the goal. Well, your twin flame here is your greatest ally in that, process of ascension. So therefore, it's safe to see like even in harmonious union, and mostly you're gonna continue like going deeper into loving yourself and seeing how you partner in this space.
Yeah, and it's not about like how
Because you
how we
can,
want.
like what I wanted to share here is like you can fall in a trap in being like loyal to your twin flame, right? Or you might think like, oh, like he's like this and I should like act in a certain way because ta ta ta. But no, like I'm still loyal to God here. I shouldn't like Lawrence, you will align with me, and your twin flame will align with you when you go deeper in that relationship with love, when you go deeper in your relationship with God. And that's going to be reflected immediately by your twin flame. And if something happens here and is being reflected in your union or in harmonious union, that's like the first, I think, like places where you're gonna see where you're not loyal to God actually, and where you are loyal to God. So it's safe to like use that mirror as your ascension tool. And this is how you really honor being loyal to God, because it can be really easy when, it feels so good, right? To be with your twin flame. Harmonious union feels really good. Being around your twin flame feels really good. It can be easy to kind of sleep and kind of forget what the purpose is. And this is what where you're always going to be disciplined and brought back. It's about it's still about ascension. It's still about God. It's still about you doing the mirror exercise and loving yourself. And even if you have humps and bumps in the road and you're learning, right? It's safe to see that it's all part of this big plan of, the ascension, and you being loyal to God here in your union. It's just about really honoring who your twin flame is to you, and keep following the process, keep going deeper here, keep doing the mirror exercise, and keep expressing more and more love into your life, manifesting more and more love into your life.
Yep.
Yeah, like we had this, if I were to share like this incident of like, we had like the kitchen counter, and it was like a little bit messy.
You're getting back at it.
I'm going to give this example again. It's a good example. And, you know, in being loyal to love, I had to like address this, you know, because Lawrence is cooking. So I had to like address this. Hey, like what's happening here? And I moved through my inner process and I found my feelings, and I keep claiming, you know, to have like a good, you know, like a better home, going deeper in all of these areas. And I had to like address this, like, hey, what's happening? This is rather messy, right? And he was like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm
a creative person.
He's a creative person, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And for some time, you know, I kept feeling my feelings there, you know, and I was like, no, like this doesn't feel good to me. Like I'm not really honoring love if I allow myself to have this messiness in my life, right? So at some point, like he was doing some cleaning and I just came in and helped him there, and I had to do it. I had to step up here and bring that peace because I was upset about it. So I had to take responsibility, right? So we created this whole beautiful system like in the kitchen for him to use, and he felt very good about it, and he felt supported. And then it was all beautiful, but I had to be like, hey, you have to maintain this. And I think this is really important to see, like you have to maintain your loyalty to God. Your loyalty to God is not something that you choose now and you drop it later. It's something that you have to continuously build up and maintain and keep building at it. It's a flower, right? You have to keep watering it to grow. It's not just, yes, I bought the flower. This is my choice to be loyal to God. Now I'm going to look at it and it's going to wither away, right? You have to like nurture that relationship.
I thought you were going to like put the flower there and say, okay, now water yourself.
No.
Like the flower is there. Yeah, but it's the same exact example that was coming to my mind where you were speaking about it. It's like, yeah, it's a relationship. This also was like brought up by, an ex-colleague of mine in my last working space. It's like relationships are like a flower, like a plant. You have to water them, and it's like otherwise it's not gonna like magically, as you said, like God is not this moving unicorn. It moves through each and every one of us. So that sometimes like steps have to be taken. But I love the story about the kitchen.
There's still like one piece about it, right? There was like this morning we had breakfast and I was having my coffee and we were sitting at the kitchen table and we were like speaking about inner work and stuff. And then I don't know, like I just moved my head and I see like one measuring cup is not put away. And, you know, I saw it there and I was like, should I address this? Should I not address this? I know that probably he just like cleaned it up and just left it there. But I was moving through this process, right? Of like, who am I loyal to? Am I loyal to God or am I loyal to, you know, oh, poor Laurentiu, like he's doing like such a great job. It's okay if he let the measuring cup out once, right? And I was feeling into it, you know, and, you know, I said to him like, hey, like I just noticed like you didn't put the measuring cup back, like you can put it back. And he just like presented to me like a shower of excuses, right? Like, oh, like it's this just because of this and that and this and that. And I was like, I told you to that this has to be maintained. Oh, shower of excuses. I'm dramatizing it a bit but for comical purposes, but that's how the conversation went.
I mean, in her mind, that's how it went. But
yeah, so
but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and I recognize, you know, by him presenting all of these things, I was asked, are you going to be loyal here to love or are you going to be loyal to something else? Are you going to be loyal to love or something else? Because I could easily cave in and be like, okay, fine, just take care of it, you know. But I persisted to it and I said, no, the cup should be put back. Don't let it like that. It's not nice. and he finally put it back, you know, and I felt like this was like a really like great thing, because I know like the kitchen counter is fine, like we don't have issues with it, right? But that was like a test for us, you know. Oh, are you gonna maintain this, or are you gonna slip away and like not being, you know, committed and loyal to God in this space, to like love? And are you gonna give your love away now, you know? And I think like this is something, just like a funny example, you know, like how we dealt with this particular situation in our union, because he was presenting, as I said, like a lot of like resistance that it was my resistance, of course. So I had to just move through it and be persistent. And no, I am loyal to love. I am loyal to, you know, having this clean counter. And this is something really nice, and I really appreciate this, like in what Jeff and Shaleia teach is like it might have seemed like such a small thing. It was just a cup not put in the place. It literally takes 30 seconds to put it back, right? Almost 1 minute, let's say.
Or less, I said.
Yeah, or less. It might seem like such an insignificant thing, but that, you know, upset will fester, will grow, and it'll transform into, you know, deeper and deeper like disorder. And this is why it's important at every place, you know, at every step, to kind of be vigilant, you know,
and address it
and not be afraid to like address it whenever you see it. So kind of how you said about like the smoking lady, right? It's the same thing. You have to like address it. And you know, sometimes you're going to be asked to do this in a very, what might seem like an uncomfortable way, but it's just you moving to that process of claiming deeper and deeper love in that space and honoring love in that space. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, are you gonna be loyal, or are you gonna let it slide? Are you gonna be loyal, or are you gonna let it slide? And like, and I think this is something I can speak again for myself. Like in a lot of relationships, I was perhaps too afraid of being loyal, and I would let a lot of things slide, but then it will build up into a lot of resentment as well, and it wouldn't get really resolved either. So I'm just like processing and integrating as I speak with you guys. Like it's easier to be loyal and to work through whatever upsets that might bring than like let it slide and let it fester there and blah blah blah, because it won't be nice. Like it won't feel comfortable at the end. And I think it's because there's also in this class in particular a lot of betrayal was coming up as another theme. And that's the moment, like when you let it slide and you're not aligning yourself with that loyalty to God, you're actually betraying yourself. Because something that was spoken also in class was like the journey is asking you to align to who you truly are, like in divine truth. So whenever you do not do this, you're kind of betraying your own self in that space. So it's something like it's okay to move in that direction and like again practice and master being loyal. Because as Jeff was saying, like when you're loyal to the loving you, you're loyal to everyone.
Yep. And it comes back to this, like it's a really an active process being loyal. It's not passive. It's you know, at every moment, in every second, you choose to, you know, go deeper into your loyalty to love and God. And maybe you sleep, and that's okay. That's also part of your process of learning how to go deeper in your loyalty towards, you know, love and God and yourself. And yeah, it's just a process of us returning home.
Yeah, walking home. And I don't know, you were saying that and you may sleep, and the image of you walking through this wet floor with a sign on, it's like big caution wet floor, and you just kind of like sleep. It doesn't matter, like you will fall and you will get up, you will dust yourself off, and it's like, oh, okay. there's no harm here. Now I know when I see a slippery floor, I know my way around it. And like this is something that was coming up in our book discussion yesterday in the Spanish community as well. And one of the girls attending said exactly the same. So I love how everything is like always coming full circle. And she was like pointing to the same thing. Like, yeah, you may sleep. It doesn't matter. You just get up, back up, like you get back on the horse and continue. It's like, have you died? No. Have you lost something? No. Can you walk? Yes, then keep walking.
And even if those things happen, they're just like, illusions that you can work through, right? And I think like this is something that they also say, like the moment that I think like Jason and Chrissy said in the closure of the sermon, there was like, it can be instant. You returning to loyalty, you returning to God in this space, it's in an instant. It's not this long process of like, it's just like the choice, like the moment you make the choice, and the choice is really grounded there in within yourself, that it's there and it's done, and you don't need to do anything about it. It's there, and it can be an instant. And this is how easy it can actually be to return in that space. Like you notice yourself sleep, return to God. And I think this is something that it might be tripping people off sometimes, because and I know I'm going through this myself. Like when I go to like a deeper pattern or something that it's kind of like repeating in my life, it's like, oh, am I gonna give up now, or I'm gonna keep returning to that space and returning to that space and keep making the new choice, and allowing myself to see like God is at work in that process, and I'm gonna arrive at the step that I really need to arrive. And all I have to do is just keep saying no to the fear or like the challenge being presented, and keep saying yes to love. No to the challenge, yes to love. No to the ego, yes to love. No to everything else, yes to God. And are you doing this? Are you do this in your life? Then you are making progress, then you are moving forward, and it's safe to like honor yourself. This is something that Jeff said like in our class yesterday. Like it doesn't really matter how many times you fall and you come back. Like it's really important to see that that's important. The fact that you're not giving up, that's your faith. It's safe to honor that as you just figure out how to be loyal to God, because maybe we just don't know in some spaces, so for us, maybe we know how to be loyal to God in our harmonious union, and we're still going deeper. Like we're still going deeper, right? But we have achieved like a certain level, right?
I mean, we don't have perfect union, I know, so
yeah. But we're still going deeper in other areas, so it's safe to acknowledge that and go deeper with that.
Yeah, something really beautiful, and you remind me of something that I read in the Divine Romance very recently about, like Paramahansa was speaking about this in regards to like it only matters like this passion that you put forth in taking those steps, like an honest I know that we don't really like using the try because it's do or do not, there is no try. Sincerity and intensity of effort is what counts. That's like the sub. I won't read the whole chapter, but those were the words that I was looking for. And he was like basically speaking. So it's like no matter if your sins are as deep as the Atlantic Ocean, the constant mental effort to become good, like align yourself with God, be loyal to God. For a few incarnations, you have been a human being, but throughout eternity, you have been a child of God. Never think of yourself as a sinner, because sin and ignorance are only mortal nightmares. When we will awaken in God, we will find that we, the soul, the pure consciousness, never did anything wrong. And okay, I'm gonna read through the paragraph. Untainted by mortal experiences, we are and ever have been the sons of God. We are like gold in the mud. When the mud of ignorance is cleansed away, the shining gold of the soul, made in God's image, is seen within. So it's like that constant effort that Jeff was speaking in this class from yesterday. And it was something that was coming to me throughout the week. It's like, okay, I'm gonna throw all this away. I'm done. Like, it was very challenging. It's like, it's not worth it, blah, blah, blah. And I know myself enough to know that when I go through those moments, it's pretty much something appealing. So I don't really have to give that much into it. And it's also appealing like drama, this cultural background that I have. And I was like, how many times did I have this? Oh, I'm just gonna give up. It's not surrendering, it's giving up. It's throwing in the towel. And then in one of the coaching sessions that I had throughout the week, the same came back. And it didn't matter. Like, again, if you fall from the horse, you just get back up. And as long as you are doing that core choice in your heart of keep going no matter how many times you may slip, that's all that counts in the eyes of God. Because you are being loyal to yourself to the best of your possibilities at each moment. And perhaps this is something that I can share a little bit more, because I've been working through feeling worthy or believing that I have to prove myself. And so putting a lot of pressure on how do I move forward in my journey, how it all looks like, and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that choice that brings you back to peace, because that's where you find God. And that's where the next step is really so clear, that as you were saying, the journey becomes so easy. It doesn't have to be a struggle. There's no need to go upstream and be that rebel fish that goes against the water flow. So it's coming back to what your choices are and what's the intention behind them as well. Why am I choosing this? What's the purpose? Am I choosing it because somebody else wants me to be choosing this, or am I choosing this because this is what I truly want and desire? And again, it's putting all of yourself behind that choice. So I don't know, I love this sermon. You have so much to share from it, riff off from it. You're up, guys. I can keep talking, but I don't want to steal the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. When it comes to being loyal to God and how to go deeper with this in your own life, there is, endless topics that we can touch upon and we can discuss. But the core principle is this one, keep choosing love and keep aligning with that choice of love, and keep trusting love. And keep trusting that love and God will carry you forward in the direction of your highest good. And we don't know how that looks like sometimes. And maybe that's scary in the process, but that's all that we have to do, is just have faith and know that love will carry you through.
Yeah, I love that. And it resonates perfectly with one of the examples that Brianne was giving, when she was feeling guided to step away from her old job and into her life purpose. And I myself also have these moments okay, I'm responsible for all this stuff in my table, and how am I little me gonna be making all this work out? And then it's I don't really I have to be active in the steps that I take, but I don't have to be the one making it. God has already set the first 1,000 steps before you to get from A to B. This is something that I don't know if I heard recently in a class or somebody sharing it in the group. It's like when God presents something and you choose to say yes to it, the steps were already programmed, like they were already planned. It's just like taking them. So it's like making it easy.
Yeah.
I think Anisha has something to say perhaps as I see
Thinking
her.
as well.
Yeah.
The key is just releasing resistance to love. And that's something I've had to really do the last couple of weeks, is just looking at the places where I was afraid of being loved and going into those spaces and allowing love to come in and just trusting. Really, like it's just it's always like a surprise with God. That's one of my favorite things about God, is he's always surprising me. And I love surprises. Some people don't like surprises, so they're afraid to go into that space, but it's really worth it. Release resistance to love and you're completely safe.
I'm kind of those people. Like I love to be surprised in a nice way, but when I made a choice and God kind of has a plot twist, I'm like what happened here? I thought we were moving in this direction. It's like steer the wheel on the opposite side. I was like, okay, let me grab on to my seat. But at the end of it, as you were working through it, and Ashan was sharing in the reading previous to the sermon as well, it's like trusting that when you go to that, or like you come through to the other side, you have like this gigantic pool of love waiting for, and like for you to be open to receive it and to enter into your life. And I think that's one of the most amazing things I really appreciate about God. It's like whenever you move through it, even if it was a little bit like edgy or sketchy or at the end, it's like you're being hugged by a fluffy cloud. But at least that's kind of like my experience. and that's the space that I really want to be living in anyway. So yeah, I love it.
That feels good. And I feel like we're coming to a completion here. Since we anyway, I think we started a bit before.
Yeah. We can just like have like our closing comments about this. Like I keep checking the chat, but nobody like shared anything. People just said hi and laughed about some things that we were saying, and said like we had like a great discussion. So yeah, like yeah, in closing, I think, you know, being loyal to God is one of the core teachings that we are returning to as you know, as unionists, and it's just the thing that we're returning to deeper and deeper as we go on our ascension journey. And it's this constant like choice to just go deeper and be loyal to love and God.
Yeah, I felt that's kind of like the question. Are you putting God first? Are you putting God first? Are you putting God first? And kind of like feeling to that and see if we are.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not at the surface level, but like deep down on your core, regardless of how everything looks like on the outside. So I think it's the same lesson that I've been coming to as well. It's like, am I choosing God here? Am I choosing God here? If my choice is this, will I still be in this space? Will I still desire to be here? Will I still desire to do all this? And like when those two answers don't align, then there's no much to it. It's like, if I still desire to be here, then the only possible choice is to align myself to God in this space. And like let the rest fall away. And yeah, just give ourselves that space to process and release whatever it is. Like go for a walk, put yourself a movie, relax a little bit. It's not like hard work all the time. But yeah.
Good.
Again, it's like surrender.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, Kanisha, do you have any closing thoughts? No?
Kanisha is good. Good. Well, with this, we thank you everybody for joining us in this after church tea time, and we will see you around in the Church of Union. Don't forget to, subscribe to our channels, and we will see you next time.